The UK construction industry, 2 million workers carrying out jobs worth £65 billion.
Time is always money.
Where smashing, grabbing, digging and demolishing are all in a day's work.
It's big boys, big toys.
But this workforce would be nowhere without big, yellow diggers. Now, in this literally groundbreaking series, we follow these hero machines and the men and women who drive them.
One slip and you're gone.
We've just had an epic fail down here. That ain't good.
Welcome to the world of big diggers.
Coming up,
You're fighting a monster.
Big Digger versus Jumbo Jet. A JCB scramble to fight a raging forest fire.
The slightest ember or spark will flare it up.
A digger takes on its biggest enemy, mud.
They do sink and they are a problem to get out.
And London's brought to a standstill.
There's a danger he could tip over.
Good morning, HE Services.
All these jobs are done by digger hire company HE Services. They supply diggers and digger operators to the construction industry.
We employ over 1,000 people. We have over 2,500 diggers on our hire fleet.
And with 12 depots around the country, they have a machine for every job.
Bookings are coordinated from a national hire centre, headed up by no-nonsense Pam Jury.
I want to do some telephone calling and get some work done in here.
For Britain's #1 digger company, no job is too big or too small.
But before any job starts, a digger needs to be dispatched. At the Hungerford depot in southwest England, assistant manager Mark Crisp puts delivery driver Dave Deacon on the job.
Okay. Get on then. See you later.
Yeah, I'll see you later on.
Ta-da.
It's Dave's responsibility to make sure the digger is safely transported to the work site, 17 miles away in Gloucestershire.
Steering 35 tonnes of digger onto its transport lorry, known in the business as a low loader, is a dangerous job. It's 2 foot wider than the platform for a start.
I've been in the barn game for years now, and I've known experienced drivers who's been on lorries for 20 years plus who will not put a machine on the back of a lorry. They go up and down gradients and down ditches and everything, but they will not load a machine onto the back of a low loader.
Making it look easy is all part of getting ready for a day's work. Once Dave is happy, 60 tonnes of steel roll out of the depot. The sheer size of his load means Dave has to carry a special licence, giving 48 hours notice to the police, local councils and even Railtrack. But his biggest headache is other drivers.
This is where the job gets a little bit harder because you've now got oncoming traffic. We're 11 foot wide, so just need to keep your wits about you a little bit because half of these people won't have theirs about. We're all guilty of daydreaming in the sunshine at times, but yeah, it's a beautiful day and you're looking at the window, out the sheep in the field and oh dear, there's a lorry coming the other way.
1 hour and several reckless drivers later, Dave arrives at his destination, Cotswold Airport near Cirencester.
This airfield used to be the home of the Red Arrows display team. Now it's where old aircraft come to die. Today's job is as big as it gets. They'll be scrapping a Boeing 747. It's the biggest job they've ever done on this site.
Air salvage is big business, £50 million a year just in the UK. The engines, worth £500,000 each, have already been stripped for spares. The nose cone, with another million's worth of radio equipment and all-weather radar, are long gone. In fact, there's only the airframe left, 100 tonnes of high-grade aluminium. Melted down, this will be worth 30 grand, but first it needs to be in bits. And that's a job for Andy Channon. An aircraft specialist for nearly a decade, he's one of only 3 people in the country who can tear down a plane this big. He's known as the Undertaker.
It's a real adrenaline rush to get to do something this big. I mean, this isn't your average sort of everyday job, and I just love it, absolutely love it.
And for Andy, every job starts with a stroll.
We're going to walk round, check all the tanks, valves are open and everything, and then we'll just check everything's in place, ready to start the breakdown of the airframe. So,
on a plane this big, one of the greatest dangers is the amount of fuel still inside the aircraft, even after the tanks have been drained.
I had a 747 catch fire in Manston when I got into the centre tank. There was a lot of residual fuel within the pipes, and I just kept going, eating through the base of the tank, and a spark got in there, woof, up she went.
After that experience, Andy's on the lookout for anything explosive.
But we have to check most of the toilets, or all of the toilets, to check that the fire extinguishers have been removed, because obviously they can explode in the smelting process, or even if I pick them up with a machine, they go off like a mini bomb. Yeah, not very nice. Well, here we are on the flight deck. Bit of a sad end, really, for such a big old thing. It's just a pile of scrap now, or will be shortly.
Andy's plan involves starting at the back where there's less weight.
I do like to try and get the back end off nice and clean, a good as damn cut as we can. So yeah, if that falls neat, I'll be happy.
Andy's job is made harder by the fact that aluminium, unlike steel or concrete, shatters when it's smashed up into flying shards. Even sitting behind a steel guard, he's in danger.
I've had a couple of close calls before. The last jumbo I did down here, lump of metal come through the demolition guard. The first I knew about it was my hat was off, and unbeknown to me, it hit me straight in the peak there, a couple of inches lower, and I think I'd have been in A&E.
For the first incision, he's chosen the grabber attachment with its jaws of death.
He's the main man. He goes in there and tears them apart, and he does it really efficiently, really quickly. He's got his own methodology of taking it apart. He knows where to start, he knows the stress areas, he knows how the structure's going to fall when he cuts it, and basically we leave it up to him. With each aircraft he'll go and look at it, and then he'll decide how he's going to cut it up. He's one of very few people in the country that can actually do this job, to be honest.
And the first bite is always the best bite.
Andy starts off with a hefty mouthful of economy class. He follows up with a massive bite of the floor above the baggage compartment.
Back in a bit.
Finally, he gorges himself on the top of the fuselage. Andy's got the bit between his teeth, and now he's going in for the kill. "20 tons of tail section make an emergency landing. It's first blood to the undertaker."
It detached sooner than I expected. I wasn't quite expecting it to come off that quick. Like you say, you can never tell. Some go easy, some go hard, some put up a fight, but that one didn't put up much of a fight. So yeah, really well. Yeah, good.
Coming up, battling flames JCB style. Mud bath on the Thames.
He's starting to sing.
And it's Jumbo Jet 1.
Kerosene.
Big Digger 0.
That looks considerable, doesn't it?
For Britain's biggest digger hire company, there's never a typical day. And the jobs they do are not just about construction.
What sort of job then you guys doing?
At head office, the bookings team, headed by Pam Jury, gets a call from the Forestry Commission.
Firefighters across the whole UK are battling a series of wildfires.
Just when they think it's contained, a new one crops up.
It's the driest April for 300 years, and in Berkshire, the forest of Swinley has gone up in flames. 10,000 homes in nearby Bracknell are at serious risk. Emergency crews from 7 counties are battling to stop the fire spreading, but they need help.
Perm forwards the call to Hungerford depot manager Terry Watson,
We'll put Mark Perry on it.
who scrambles a digger.
We've got an urgent job on. We've got to get this JS up to Bracknell.
Send that with a big...
Send that with a nice big 10-foot blade on it.
I'll get that ready now then, okay?
Okay, brilliant.
Going down to the woods today is veteran driver Mark Povey. He's been operating every kind of digger for over 25 years. But this is no picnic. Mark's going in heavy. He's taking a 35-ton JCB and the biggest bucket they have, a 10-foot wide scoop.
A nice machine to drive. It does what it has to do.
The JCB is needed to dig a fire break, which is a gap separating one patch of forest from another. Forest fires can cross gaps that are 2.5 times the height of the flame. Sometimes even a major road through the woods isn't wide enough to stop them.
The fire has been jumping, and this was the problem we've had since it started. Once it gets into the leaf litter and gets established underground, the slightest ember or spark or slightest gust of wind will flare it up. So the more fire breaks we have, they are absolutely vital in helping us tackle this fire.
Driving into the exclusion zone for the first time, Mark can see the devastation caused by the fire and just how bad the conditions are.
It's hot, stifling.
98 degrees stifling, in fact, and where there's smoke, oxygen is dangerously low. On the front line, Mark meets forestry man Ollie Bennett, who puts him straight to work clearing the undergrowth.
I'm aware you've got a very wide bucket there, so you might have a bit of trouble finding space there because obviously there's a lot of vegetation. Don't worry too much if you have to smash down a few little bits, but you know, obviously the bigger trees, try not to smack them obviously. Thanks very much.
The JCB 360 is one of the big boys of the digger family. The 1-ton Caterpillar track system is based on battlefield tank technology, and its arm can reach 34 feet and pick up the equivalent of 4 fully grown elephants.
But today it's working as a team. It's clearing up behind the advance party, the beast known only as the mulcher. It may look like a clumsy tractor, but this pocket monster rips a path through any forest at 4 miles per hour without stopping.
It weighs 20 tonne, it just goes straight through whatever's in front of it really.
Behind it lies a trail of chewed up vegetation, the perfect snack for a forest fire.
You following me down then?
Mark's job is to follow behind it and scrape the path back to the bone, making a dead end for the flames.
Ever so light, not very heavy at all. This machine's just eating it.
The 10-foot scoop clears the ground in no time. But finding a gap in the trees that's wide enough for it is another problem altogether.
A bit trickier now. I got a little hole to put it into. That's it. Getting harder now.
It's a scorching hot day, and Swinley Forest isn't the only thing that's bone dry.
It'd be better if it was a pint of lager.
But mulchers wait for no man. Mark may have cleared 200 yards in 1 hour, but 100 yards away the fire's alive and kicking.
The soil's so dry and fine that if we don't clear it, it can easily ignite again. And that's what we're trying to avoid now.
Mark's working as fast as he can, but he's feeling the pressure.
We're trying to catch up with a mulcher, but he's so far in front you'll never catch him.
Another hour and Mark's managed to clear 400 yards.
The diggers are proving absolutely fundamental. I mean, they are an absolutely integral part of the firefighting operation here. The guys have been working so hard, flat out, to clear these areas for us, so fantastic. A big thank you for that.
He might not be able to keep up with a mulcher, but he's done enough to give the fire services a fighting chance.
I'll get off back now, job's done.
Back at the Cotswold Airport, aircraft undertaker Andy Channon is smashing a 747 into scrap. He's taken off the tail section and eaten into the fuselage. Meanwhile, workmate Stacey is in a mini JCB, piling up the debris ready for the disposal trucks, which are scheduled to arrive tomorrow. Next up, Andy's aiming for the Jumbo's wings, but he wants to try something new. He's going to use a giant set of shears to rip the wings apart.
You're fighting a monster, so let's just keep our fingers crossed, but it should be good.
The difference between the grabber and the shears is that the shears are powered by hydraulics.
Tighten these up nice and tight.
Hydraulics convert lubricant fluid into pressure.
Let's give it a go.
They'll give him the extra cutting power he needs to get this job done in time. It's time to see if these big boys can do the job.
Crunchy!
With one bite of the shears, Andy achieves more than he would in 20 minutes with the grabber attachment. The shears generate 2 tons of pressure per square inch. They're as powerful as a car crusher, and they bite through the strongest part of the aluminium wing as if it were tin foil. The Jumbo is suddenly 9 tons lighter on one side. Andy's on a roll. He tracks the digger around the Jumbo to start working on the other wing. But then, the nightmare scenario Andy's been dreading.
Kerosene!
Andy has to stop cutting now.
We've just ruptured a pipe on the inside, which has got some kerosene in. As you can see, there's quite a drop coming out of there.
The highly combustible aviation fuel only needs a single spark to go up. It'll take at least an hour for the fumes to evaporate. That is, if it stops raining kerosene.
That looks considerable, doesn't it? That ain't slowing down, is it? Well, I'm going to have to move away from here and let this dry up.
This could delay him getting the job done. And with the kerosene still pouring out, Andy has to accept he won't be eating any more Jumbo today.
Game over. Bring me sunshine. Bring me rain.
Think of diggers and big yellow monsters on the front line of destruction is the first thing that comes to mind. But not all jobs are crash, bang, wallop. Precision and speed are the name of the game for 3 of the smallest machines in the digger family, dispatched from the Hungerford depot in deepest Wiltshire to Regent Street in central London.
It's a 3 AM start for gaffer David Biggs and his team, who are here to transform this, one of the world's busiest streets, into this, an Olympic standard equestrian arena for a Spanish-themed street festival. And they've got just 8 hours to do it in.
We obviously got to be very careful with all this traffic and people around, so take extra care in getting these machines off.
Easier said than done when one of them won't start. If they can't get the JCB off the low loader quickly, this job's over before it's begun. But being the boss, David doesn't go anywhere without jump leads in the back of his car.
That was lucky.
First off the lorry is a 10-ton PC-50 digger. Next, the jump-started JCB roller. And finally, the JCB telehandler, which is the ultimate forklift. It's too dangerous to start work with all-night revellers wandering around. So at 4 AM on the dot, the authorities closed the road. But David spotted one straggler who obviously hasn't seen the signs.
Get off! Get off! No! I'm bloody sorry. Get off of it, you idiots!
Hit me now.
We'll hit you.
Looks like it's going to be one of those mornings. The sand for the arena arrives. David knows this is one of the riskiest parts of the job.
The problem we've got here is the street is leaning towards the shops. So if the lorry tips, there's a danger he could tip over. If he drops it down, pulls forward, Phil can come in, make a bridge on this side, and he'll cock it over.
A tipped over lorry would be a disaster. It might not look unsteady, but with 28 tons of sand moving downwards fast, it can easily destabilise the truck.
Normally they'd dump the sand a kilo at a time, but with the precarious nature of the load, they decide to offload in one go.
Bang.
Taking the risk has paid off, and at last the diggers can swing into action.
The man who'll be building the arena today is digger driver Ian Fraser. Generally, he's the strong, silent type. Just don't ask him about working for the Royals if you want to get on with the job.
Prince Harry and William, yeah, we built a polo arena down in Gloucestershire when they were about 14 and 12. I had breakfast with them one morning in the old farmhouse. Yeah, nice lads, real nice lads.
Okay, enough of the name dropping, Ian. Get back on it. You've got less than an hour before those horses come trotting out. Today, Ian is operating a Komatsu PC50. In the UK, at their factory in County Durham, they produce a range of 37 machines. The biggest, the PC150, weighs in at 75 tonnes and stands as tall as a 4-storey building. But on this job, small is beautiful, which is just as well, as Ian will have to make precision adjustments the surface is about to lay.
To create the arena, an even 5 inches of sand needs to be spread over an area roughly the size of a 5-a-side football pitch.
If the sand surface isn't level, the horses could trip, risking serious injury. And since these horses are worth £1 million, that could be an expensive mistake.
If we don't get the right depth, the horses could be too near the tarmac and it could be dangerous for them.
This precision work needs the light-handed skills of an artist, but there's some parts a digger just can't reach.
What we're doing around the edges is just treading it in to make sure it's tight up against the board. So if a horse should come right up against the board, it's not going to find a hole and possibly trip or injure itself.
With a sweaty work out of the way, Gaffer David is itching to get his hands on the Vibromax. Although the JCB Vibromax's stats won't break any records, it's got just 32 horsepower and a top speed of 7 miles an hour. Its rollers are a different story. When Dave activates the vibration mechanism, the equivalent of 20 tons of pressure compacts everything in its path. The only way to describe driving it is like sitting on top of 20 turbocharged washing machines on the spin cycle.
David goes as fast as he can, knowing that Regent Street will reopen in less than half an hour. But he can't afford to take any shortcuts with the horses' welfare on the line.
Finally, it's time for some last-minute checks to the depth of the sand. Dave and Ian's challenge has been to get it to 5 inches deep all over. Have they done it? The measure stick goes in at 1 yard intervals and the result is they're not a millimetre out. With the arena finished, the final touches are added before Regent Street is reopened. But Dave's been doing this long enough not to count his chickens before they're hatched.
Don't celebrate until you cross the line.
It's the moment of truth. These elite stallions and their riders train for 3 years to master the art of dressage. Confidence in the riding surface is key for an accident-free performance.
And it looks like David's precision work has paid off.
It's interesting to do jobs like this. It's a challenge as well. It's not often you get to come into the centre of London and put our surface down in a main street. We just heard from the Spanish riders that they really like the surface.
Olé!
Coming up, Andy's left with an 80-ton headache.
We're really, really up a creek without a paddle.
It's a digger mud bath.
Are you paying or not?
And someone's gone for a joyride.
When it comes to pushing diggers to their limits, mud is public enemy #1. Sinking, skidding, and losing control can be lethal. It doesn't get much muddier than the banks of the Thames estuary, where HE has dispatched a 21-ton Komatsu to ship 1,000 tons of it from the riverbed. The client, professional boat restorer Rob Deards, has spent 30 years living and working on the river.
I thoroughly enjoy doing what I'm doing.
But life's not always plain sailing.
Sometimes you get some big headaches.
His latest problem is a massive build-up of Thames silt in the dock where he refurbishes barges.
And with a barge due in next week, he needs to get it cleared out as fast as he can.
We'll have to be a bit careful when we go around that then, so we don't damage that in any way.
Yeah.
The digger driver today is Jerry Moore.
You might have to get down there with a shovel and clean round it.
Yeah, all right.
Jerry's had 30 years experience working in mud as lethal as quicksand. When it's digger versus mud, Jerry's your top man. As Jerry turns the digger, its tracks tear through the hard topsoil into the softer clay.
Just felt the bank giving a little bit.
It's starting to sink.
It's just too risky to carry on turning or slewing the machine, something Jerry knows all too well.
In the next marina along from here, 15 years ago, a machine came in and he went across and he sunk like a stone. They sent another machine to pull him out and that sunk. They do sink and they are a problem to get out.
With this in mind, it's time for Plan B. Bring the digger in from the opposite bank.
But before he can do that, he'll have to reinforce the bank with hardcore so that it won't collapse under the weight of the digger.
For this job, Jerry will be using his very own vintage JCB 3CX, which he never leaves home without.
1987 I bought this machine, brand new. It's a very good machine, does what you ask of it, and hopefully in the next couple of years when I retire, it will see me out.
Here's the digger data. The 3CX started life as a 3C and was first produced in 1953.
Utilising superior modern plant and equipment, this builder has the right idea from the very word go.
Half-metre wide shovel at the front as standard, which can lift the equivalent of 500 cans of lager. And the basic cost, 58 grand. The JCB 3CX is ideal to nip in where other big diggers can't go.
As you can see, it's much easier to manoeuvre with this. I can place something exactly where I want it.
With the ground made safe, Jerry can get on and finish the job of pulling out the remaining mud.
The seasoned professional and a bucket capable of carrying a baby hippo, Jerry makes this hazardous work look easy. And 5 hours later, he's almost there.
With his final scoops, Jerry releases the water trapped in the bottom of the dock.
To finish, the plan is to plant a 30-foot pole vertically in the mud at the entrance to the dock, so Rob has a visual marker when he sells barges in for repair. Jerry has to venture back onto the mud one final time, closely followed by a very brave Rob.
Where do you want it?
Let me go and have a look. If I don't disappear. There. Right there. You got her.
With the post planted, they now need to detach it from the bucket. And Rob needs to get back to the dockside without losing his trainers in the mud.
I can stand on the top of the bucket. You can go up in it if you want. Health and safety.
Yeah, don't worry, Rob. Hang on. Do you want? Hang on. Open the bucket up a bit, and I'll stand on the top there.
Don't try this at home, kids.
It's a going rogue trade, is this?
Here, right over there, so I don't have to walk through that.
Are you paying or not?
Job done. Back at Cotswold Airport, Andy Channon's battle with the jumbo jet crunched to a halt when he had a highly flammable kerosene spill.
Kerosene!
The following day, he decides what the situation needs now is a newer, bigger digger.
Right, we've got a replacement 45-ton machine, which is obviously a lot heavier, a lot bigger, a lot more powerful. So hopefully we'll see some action today, get it on the ground and finish her off.
Finally, with the right tools for the job, Andy can try and pick up the time he's lost. Digger eats what's left of the airframe for breakfast. The flight deck comes off like the top of a boiled egg. Andy's mate Stacey is busy in the little JCB, shoveling scrap into huge piles ready for the trucks. Everything is hunky-dory until the smallest member of the team lets itself down. Stacey's learnt the hard way, aluminium shards and pneumatic tyres don't mix.
If this machine's not working, I can't do my job, which obviously then knocks on to the total job time itself. The only way we can really fix it is either to get a set of solid rubber tyres on it, or obviously get a new device from JCB.
It's a puncture too far. With a dozen trucks on their way, Andy needs that aluminium in neat piles or they stand to lose the whole job.
What I'm going to have to do is take the grab off this machine, change the attachment, put the grading bucket on, and all the debris you can see lying around the airframe at the moment, pull that all up into the heap, then just sweep it in as best as we can really. But we're really up a creek without a paddle without this little JCB at the minute.
In his darkest hour, Andy sees the ultimate symbol of hope in the face of overwhelming odds, a Mark IV Spitfire. Closely followed by a JCB. The 3CX backhoe loader to the rescue, and it's bang on time. This vehicle is perfect for the job.
Each year, 14 million nuts and bolts go into making it. Maximum speed is 21.6 miles per hour per digger, and to keep up with demand, one machine rolls off their production line in Roaster, Staffordshire every 7 minutes.
This bit of kit might actually help us get the job done a bit more efficiently, and then obviously with its size it might be able to sort of help clear the ground a lot quicker as well.
A mountain of scrap awaits them.
Here we go. Right then.
Now it's a race to get the debris swept up before the trucks arrive.
And coming backwards. There's one behind me. Well, let's go a minute.
Like a giant dustpan and brush, Andy and Stacey shovel the scrap into piles. The 3CX is more than keeping its end up. Which is just as well because the first truck is already here. It's time to lay the 747 to rest, one mouthful at a time. A single hearse won't be enough for this corpse. Andy the Undertaker needs trucks, and loads of them.
I've had 8 today. This is the 9th one. Anything left on the ground then will go in a roll-on, roll-off bin. So yeah, it's all good. Get rid of this one and we'll go home.
It's taken 2 days, 4 diggers and 2 attachments to turn this 400 tons of prime jumbo jet into this 5 million pieces of tiny scrap worth £30,000. All in all, Andy should be pleased with his work. But the job doesn't end here. He'll have to get up tomorrow and do it all over again.
747 was sat here, and you can see it's gone. And get that one in here next and start all over. Whole process again. Never ends.
Coming up,
Oh my God!
a rookie driver gets behind the wheel of a JCB for the first time.
What are you doing?
HE Services are the biggest machine hire company in Europe. Every day the bookings team send out dozens of diggers on hundreds of jobs. But working 10-hour shifts in the office means they rarely get to work directly with the diggers. But that's all about to change for the newest member of the team.
It's Penny calling here from HE Services.
Today, Penny won't be reporting for work at head office. Instead, she's been given the day off to get her hands dirty.
It would be an advantage for her to be able to talk to customers, know what she's talking about. I think it will be brilliant for her, and I think she'll have a fun day as well doing it.
For the first time in her career, Penny's going to get up close and personal to 8.5 tons of digger.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so I'm really just going to give it my all and hope it goes well and I don't break anything.
A short drive across town and Penny's at her morning rendezvous. HE Services built this digger training course in Kent as a place for rookie drivers to learn the basics. Today, Penny is meeting instructor Andy Garrett.
That's the one I'm going to be driving.
That's the one, number 1 down there.
Andy's first job is to calm Penny's nerves.
I hope I can do this.
You'll be okay. Say it's only brand new, so nothing to worry about.
Penny will be entering a traditionally male-dominated world, but things are changing.
It used to be in the old days, you used to have to be big, strong men to operate these machineries because they had big, huge levers. Now you only have to use fingertips to operate it rather than big, strong muscles, so there's no reason why the girls shouldn't be able to do it as well.
Today's lesson is in a JCB 3CX. Famed for its ease of use, the 3CX can be driven by anyone, as long as they have a full UK driving licence.
It's a bit like driving a car, but not much like driving a car. We've got a steering wheel. Here we've got the forward and reverse lever. So to go forwards, we lift up, push forwards. Go backwards, lift up, pull back. To change gear, semi-automatic gearbox, so you literally go 1, 2, 3, 4.
It looks like it's all going in, but is it all coming out again as well?
3 pedals on the floor.
Which one's the accelerator?
I'll move on to the accelerator next. Use the accelerator a bit like a brake. And if you do stop too quickly, you end up Garfield against the window.
With that in mind, Penny puts the digger into gear and heads off around the course. Is she a quick learner?
Oh my God!
Luckily, there aren't any other road users to contend with at this stage. Penny's currently only a danger to herself.
Are we going to get through the gap?
And stop there for me.
But driving a JCB is one thing, operating one is another.
Now onto the front end controls.
Yep.
Okay, this is where it can get a little bit confusing, okay? So.
Oh God, right, okay.
It takes most rookies 6 months to become fully trained operators.
When we pull back, the boom will go up.
The boom?
The boom.
Ah! Right, okay, now what?
Are we ready to use the backhoe?
Probably not, but I'll go for it anyway.
The backhoe is one of the defining features of the JCB 3CX.
That'll do.
The basic design of this 25-foot telescopic arm is pretty much the same as the original invented in 1953 by JCB founder Joseph Bamford.
See, I can do it. I'll be a pro before you know it.
Don't talk too soon, Penny. There's one more challenge you have to do. Take the digger out on a real road.
joking, aren't you?
No.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yes.
I can't drive a digger on the road.
We'll be the judge of that one.
Oh my God. What are you doing? You don't say I'm driving. Everybody's looking at me like I'm an idiot. I don't really know why.
How'd it go?
It went brilliant.
Really?
I can't believe I did it.
Penny did very well. She got hold of the machine. She was a bit intimidated at first, just because of the size of it, but I think after about 10 minutes, she got over her fears and just got on with it and didn't do badly at all.
And for Penny, it looks like she's got the JCB bug.
Definitely with the sort of industry that I work in, it's brilliant to be able to get the chance to do this. It's good to be able to actually get in there, be hands-on and do it yourself.